Picture this, right? You are standing in your kitchen. It's a Friday night, phone in hand. You are, you're hungry.
Oh, yeah, we have all been there.
Right. But instead of actually ordering anything, you are just locked in this endless cycle of swiping between like 3 different food delivery apps.
Yep, the classic Friday night trap.
Exactly. You're comparing delivery times, you're calculating service fees, you are trying to figure out which platform has the best discount code for that sushi place down the street. It is the ultimate modern paradox of choice.
It really is.
I mean, we are surrounded by infinite dining options,
Yeah.
yet the sheer friction of choosing leaves us just staring at our screens while our dinner gets, metaphorically colder by the minute.
Well, the thing is, that paralysis, it's actually baked into the system.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The platforms are designed to aggregate choices, right? But the complex, layered pricing structures behind those interfaces, they actually create a massive cognitive load for you, the consumer. You're just trying to solve a simple biological need, hunger, but you're doing it using incredibly complex financial and logistical software.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because curing that Friday night decision fatigue is exactly what we are tackling in this deep dive.
I am ready.
We are looking at a really comprehensive 2026 guide to the 10 best food delivery apps in the UK. And the mission today is to build you a definitive roadmap.
A cheat sheet, basically.
Exactly. We're going to break down exactly which app you should tap based on your specific needs, whether that means absolute speed or, sticking to a tight budget.
Or ensuring your money actually stays in your local neighborhood, which is huge right now.
Right. Or even tracking down a highly specific type of cuisine.
To really grasp the stakes of this guide, though, we kind of have to pull back first. We need to look at the sheer economic gravity of this industry.
Massive, right?
Oh, it's staggering. We're no longer talking about a handful of scrappy tech startups trying to, digitize takeaway menus. The UK food service delivery market, it was valued at a massive £13.87 billion in 2024.
Wow.
And the projections we have show it hurtling toward $15.8 billion by 2028.
Almost 16 billion pounds. I mean, that number completely shifts the perspective.
It does.
This is not a luxury service anymore. It's fundamental utility infrastructure. It is literally the plumbing of how the country eats.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Especially when you consider that the source material highlights the UK as the 3rd largest online food delivery market in the entire world.
Right behind some massive population.
Exactly. The only countries moving more food through apps are China and the United States, which have, vastly larger populations. It's just amazing to me.
The penetration rate in the UK is exceptional. I mean, it is one of the most mature, heavily contested battlegrounds in Europe right now.
Makes sense with that much money on the table.
Exactly. Because a £15.8 billion pie is so lucrative, the companies fighting for it are just constantly weaponizing their business models. They're tweaking their logistics and adjusting their algorithms to capture your specific geographic location and, of course, your wallet.
So to navigate a battlefield that large, I feel like we have to start by analyzing the heavyweights, the titans of the industry.
The ones everyone already knows.
Right, the ones most listeners probably already have sitting on their home screens. We were talking about the big 3.
Right, so those would be Just Eat, Ubereats, and Deliveroo. They really set the baseline expectations for the entire market.
Okay, break down the numbers for us.
According to recent surveyed consumers, Just Eat is the current market leader. They're used by about 65% of people.
Wow, 65%.
Yeah. Uber Eats follows pretty closely with 54%, and then Deliveroo holds 52%.
So it's tight.
Very tight. And to understand any alternative platform out there, you really first have to understand the mechanics of how these 3 operate and, maintain their dominance.
Right, but before we dissect their mechanics, let's give this some global context.
Right.
Because app dominance is highly regional.
Extremely regional.
Yeah, like if you were listening from outside the UK, the landscape looks very, very different. It's like scrolling through endless streaming services, You have so many options, you end up starving before you pick one. But the options themselves change depending on where you live.
Yeah, it varies wildly. Like for listeners familiar with the American market, the closest UK operational equivalent to DoorDash is Deliveroo.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. But a massive player like Grubhub, which absolutely dominates parts of the US, Canada, and Australia, it just doesn't even exist in the UK ecosystem.
Wait, really? Not at all.
Nope. completely absent. And Talabat, which is another titan of the industry, they operate purely within the Middle East and North Africa region.
Oh, okay.
So the UK ecosystem is this very specific, closed arena ruled by its own big three.
See, here's where it gets really interesting to me. When you look closely at how these three compete against each other, the ultimate battleground is not food quality.
Nope.
It's time. The source material outlines this fascinating real-world test conducted in London in January 2026.
Right, the speed test.
Yeah. Over the course of a week, they placed 5 identical types of orders from Deliveroo and 5 from Uber Eats, just to track the cold, hard logistics of speed.
And the results are pretty telling.
They really are. Deliveroo consistently averaged between 25 and 35 minutes per delivery. But Uber Eats, on the other hand, they averaged around 40 minutes for their 5 orders.
Now, obviously, a 5-order test is a pretty small sample size, right?
Right, totally.
And individual results will always fluctuate based on your specific postcode and, the time of day. But that 5 to 10-minute delta, that is the holy grail of food delivery.
Because 5 minutes is a lifetime for hot food.
Exactly. In this industry, 5 minutes is literally the difference between hot, crispy chips and lukewarm, soggy potatoes.
Ugh, nobody wants soggy chips.
No one. And to shave 10 minutes off an average route, Deliveroo relies on incredibly dense, localized networks. They aren't just dispatching riders.
What are they doing then?
They are using predictive algorithms to calculate exactly when a specific restaurant will finish cooking a specific dish.
Oh, wow, so they time it perfectly.
Yeah, so the rider walks through the door the exact second the bag is sealed.
That is wild. But that level of algorithmic precision and speed, it comes at a premium, doesn't it? Let's talk about the actual cost of this convenience.
Yeah, we have to.
Because the days of just paying the price listed on the menu are long, long gone. We are now navigating this crazy labyrinth of dynamic pricing.
The big three have successfully conditioned consumers to accept multiple, stacking layers of fees. It's just normal now.
It is.
And to combat the fatigue of those fees, they are now pushing subscription models to lock you into their specific ecosystem.
Right, like Amazon Prime, but for dinner.
Exactly. Uber Eats pushes Uber One, and Deliveroo has Deliveroo Plus. They actually recently reduced Deliveroo Plus to $7.99 a month.
Okay, and what does that get you?
That subscription grants you free delivery on orders over £10, and crucially, it caps their separate service fee at 99p.
Okay, let's pause on that. A service fee on top of a delivery fee.
Yep.
Even if you pay a monthly subscription to get free delivery, Deliveroo is still charging a 5% service fee on the basket value.
That's right. Just Eat does something really similar, actually.
What do they do?
They apply service fees ranging from 99p to 2.49 if you use their delivery network, or it starts at 50p if the restaurant manages its own drivers.
Wow.
But those consumer-facing fees, that's only half the economic equation.
Right, the restaurants are paying too.
Oh, heavily. The real revenue engine for these titans is the hidden cost extracted from the restaurants. Uber Eats, for instance, charges restaurants a commission ranging from 13% all the way up to 30% per individual order.
30%. I mean, let's just walk through the actual transaction of that.
It's brutal.
It is. If I order a 10-pound burger through Uber Eats, I am paying the 10-pound menu price, plus a service fee, plus a dynamic delivery fee that, surges because it happens to be raining.
Right.
Meanwhile, Uber Eats is taking 3 pounds directly out of the restaurant's pocket. The restaurant only keeps 7 pounds? It really feels like buying a single apple at an airport convenience store. You know the apple isn't worth 3 pounds, but you are a captive audience. You're paying a massive premium purely for the infrastructure of the transaction.
You are paying an aggregation tax. That's what it is.
An aggregation tax. I like that.
Yeah. You are funding the digital roof that houses thousands of restaurants in one place. And these platforms, they're aggressively expanding the size of that roof.
How so?
Well, the business model is no longer restricted to just hot takeaway food. The quick commerce sector, which is the delivery of groceries and household essentials, it hit approximately £2.4 billion in 2025.
That's huge.
It's massive. Deliveroo has deeply integrated partnerships with major national retailers like Waitrose and Co-op. Just Eat and Uber Eats are pouring capital into grocery logistics too.
Well, I see that on the apps all the time now.
Yeah, you aren't just paying for a burger anymore. You are funding the infrastructure that can deliver a hot pizza or a pint of milk to your door in under 30 minutes.
But if local restaurants are losing up to 30% of their revenue to this aggregator tax, the unit economics for, a family-run curry house or an independent sushi spot.
Yeah.
They simply do not work.
No, they break down completely.
Someone has to be exploiting that margin squeeze. And I think that brings us to the disruptors, the platforms staging a budget rebellion.
Right. Because the market naturally abhors an inefficiency that large. We are seeing a really powerful secondary tier of apps explicitly engineered to dismantle the high commission model.
Okay, tell me about these.
Well, they are utilizing leaner corporate structures to offer radically different economics for independent restaurant owners. Take Mialzo, for example. Yeah, they operate on a 0% commission model for their partner restaurants.
Wait, 0%. How do they even keep the servers running?
By acting as a software provider rather than a predatory partner, they connect thousands of local independent spots across the UK.
Okay.
And because they aren't siphoning off a massive percentage of every single order, they can redirect those savings into consumer loyalty.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, they actively reward users for placing orders and leaving reviews with exclusive discounts. It's a very gamified, community-driven approach.
That is smart. And then you have an app like Easy Food, which kind of flips the percentage model entirely.
Right.
Instead of taking a huge cut of the total basket value, Easy Food charges the restaurant a flat, predictable fee. I think it's a 1.50 service fee,
Yep.
a 1% transaction fee, and a 2.99 delivery fee for deliveries up to 2 miles.
The math on that is highly disruptive. Let's look at a real example.
Yeah.
If a customer places a 50-pound order for a family dinner, right? A 30% commission app extracts 15 pounds from the restaurant's gross revenue.
15 pounds just gone.
Gone. But on Easy Food, that exact same 50-pound order costs the restaurant a flat 1.50 plus a 50p transaction fee.
That's it.
That's it. They retain 48 pounds instead of 35.
That is a staggering difference in profit margin for a small business.
Yeah.
And they aren't the only ones doing this either. Foodhub boasts a massive network of over 30,000 takeaways operating on lower commissions.
Right, they're huge.
And you also have Chef Online, which acts as a hybrid platform, allowing you to order takeaway, but also offering instant table booking for dine-in experiences.
Yeah, giving restaurants more tools.
Exactly. So what does this all mean, like, for you, the listener? Why should you care about the back-end merchant fees of the app on your phone?
Well, because that 30% commission does not just vanish into thin air, it is quietly passed right on to you.
Ah, of course it is.
When a restaurant loses a third of its revenue to an aggregator, their only survival mechanism is to artificially inflate their menu prices on that specific app.
So that pad thai costs more on the app than in the store.
Exactly. You might take 12 pounds for a pad thai on a major app that only costs 10 pounds if you walked into the physical restaurant. It is a hidden markup.
Which means picking a zero commission or flat fee app is literally a cheat code for a cheaper dinner.
It really is.
Because platforms like Foodhub and Chef Online aren't draining the restaurant's margins, they actively encourage those restaurants to list their food at the exact same price you would find on their physical in-house menu. You just bypass the notorious app markup completely.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, downloading these alternative apps is actually a fundamental act of local economic preservation.
I love that.
Yeah, in a 15 billion pound market dominated by multinational tech conglomerates, independent takeaways are fighting for survival on razor-thin margins.
It's tough out there.
It is. Choosing a platform that doesn't extract a 30% tax means your money stays in your neighborhood. You are simultaneously lowering your own dinner bill and ensuring your favorite local spot stays in business.
It transforms a Friday night takeaway from a guilty pleasure into this mutual beneficial act of local support. I really love the economics of that.
It's a win-win.
But budget and local support aren't the only reasons we abandon the big three, right? Sometimes you aren't looking for a generic pizza or a cheap burger. You have a highly specific craving that the massive aggregators simply do not understand how to fulfill.
And that's because the aggregators prioritize mass market appeal, which leaves massive gaps for niche specialists to thrive.
And nature abhors a vacuum.
Exactly. These are the highly targeted apps offering curation over infinite variety. A perfect example of this is regional loyalty. Scoffable is an incredible case study here.
Oh, Scoffable. Founded in 2010.
Yeah, they've been around a while.
They have been in the game longer than some of the tech giants. But unless you live in Scotland, you have probably never heard of them.
Probably not.
They support over 600 local takeaways using a volume-based commission model, and they have zero interest in conquering the London market or expanding globally. They are hyper-focused on being the absolute best, most reliable option for their specific Scottish demographic.
And that hyper-local focus builds a resilient layer of community trust. A massive global app cannot offer the same localized customer service or, understand the specific nuances of a regional food scene.
No, they really can't.
Another really powerful example of niche specialization is cultural specificity. The source highlights Hungry Panda, which operates in major UK cities like London, Manchester, Edinburgh, Birmingham, and Glasgow.
Hungry Panda is fascinating because it is the definitive go-to app for authentic Asian cuisine and groceries.
Right, it's very specialized.
They deliver everything from highly authentic Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Thai, and Vietnamese dishes to specialized bubble tea.
The reason Hungry Panda thrives alongside an app like Ubereats is that it utilizes a completely different, deeply specialized supply chain.
How so?
Well, if a consumer is looking for specific regional Chinese dishes or niche ingredients from an Asian supermarket, the generic aggregators often struggle.
Yeah, they don't have the connections.
Right. They deal with language barriers, poorly translated menus, or a simple lack of relationships with those specific grocers. Hungry Panda speaks the cultural and culinary language fluently.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, they operate a dedicated logistics network with delivery fees starting at just 1.99.
It proves that when you want specialty ingredients, you really need an app engineered for that specific ecosystem.
Absolutely.
But speaking of ingredients, we have to tackle the ultimate wildcard on our 2026 list, the DIY option.
Ah, yes.
Gousto.
Gousto completely flips the traditional model. It's a meal kit subscription service. It targets the consumer who actually wants the tactile experience of cooking at home, using fresh ingredients, but they just want to eliminate the mental load of meal planning and the physical chore of grocery shopping.
Okay, I have to push back on the categorization here.
Uh-oh.
Gousto is an amazing service, but placing it on a list of food delivery apps alongside Deliveroo feels like comparing apples to raw flour.
Well, I mean...
Ordering Gousto when you are hungry is like buying IKEA furniture when you need a place to sit.
Okay, that's a funny way to put it. But...
Yes, a cardboard box was technically delivered to my front door, but I still have to perform the labor of building the meal. If I want a hot pizza right now, a box of raw dough and crushed tomatoes arriving on my doorstep tomorrow is not going to solve my immediate problem.
Fair point. It doesn't solve the immediate craving for hot food, but it competes directly for the exact same share of your weekly food budget.
Okay.
It solves the broader what's for dinner problem, which makes it a very formidable player in the food delivery ecosystem.
I see what you mean.
And Gousto has actually adapted to the modern demand for speed, too, by integrating 10-minute meal options alongside their broader catalog of over 500 recipes a month.
Wow, 500 a month?
Yeah, they guarantee 100% British meat, and they are fully aligned with the UK Plastics Pact, meaning their packaging is 100% recyclable, reusable, or compostable.
Okay, that packaging point is actually a massive competitive advantage because one of the biggest psychological frictions of ordering traditional takeaway is the sheer guilt of throwing away a mountain of single-use plastic containers at the end of the meal.
Oh, totally. And the unit economics of Gousto are also just a masterclass in supply chain efficiency, provided you understand their sliding scale pricing.
How does that scale work?
Well, if you are a single person ordering just 2 meals a week, the cost is relatively premium at $10.25 per serving.
Okay, a bit pricey.
But if you are a family of 4 ordering 4 meals a week, that price plummets to a highly efficient $2.64 per serving, plus a standard $3.99 delivery fee for the box.
Wait, 2.64 a portion?
Yep.
That is remarkably cheap. How do they drive the cost down that far when they are literally shipping fresh produce through the mail?
It basically comes down to predictive algorithmic forecasting.
Okay.
Traditional supermarkets waste immense amounts of food because they have to guess what consumers will buy.
Right, stuff just rots on the shelves.
Exactly. But Gousto operates on a closed-loop system. Because you order your meals in advance, they know exactly how many grams of carrots or portions of chicken to purchase from their supplier.
Oh, so there's no guesswork.
None. They achieve near-zero food waste on a massive industrial scale, and they pass those operational savings right down to the volume subscriber. You are essentially trading your own labor, the cooking, for a highly optimized, sustainable supply chain.
Wow. We have dissected a massive amount of logistical and economic data here. Let's synthesize this into a practical cheat sheet for you, the listener, so you know exactly how to deploy these tools the next time hunger strikes.
Good idea.
If you need hot food in your hands as fast as physically possible, and you don't mind paying for the privilege, you open Deliveroo. If you prioritize endless variety, or you need a hot meal alongside a restock of laundry detergent, you leverage the infrastructure of Uber Eats or Just Eat.
But if you are mindful of your budget and want to ensure the independent restaurant cooking your food actually retains their profit margin, you bypass the big three entirely. You search for your local spot on Mielzo, Easy Food, or Foodhub.
Exactly.
Mm.
And if you want the satisfaction of cooking a meal without the mental burden of wandering the aisles of a supermarket, you subscribe to Gousto. It is simply a matter of diagnosing your specific craving and matching it to the correct economic model.
This raises an important question, though. We are analyzing a snapshot of the industry in 2026. We have a fragmented landscape of apps, all battling for real estate on your phone, all attempting to insert themselves as the digital middleman between your wallet and a commercial kitchen.
Yep.
How sustainable is the aggregator model in the long run?
That is the perfect pivot to our final thought. Because tucked away at the very end of our source material, there's a tiny, easily overlooked detail.
I saw this too. It's fascinating.
It is a business pitch aimed directly at entrepreneurs. It's offering a white label food delivery solution that comes with complete source code ownership.
What's really fascinating here is the underlying threat that technology poses to the 15 billion pound market we just spent all this time discussing.
Explain that for us.
Well, white label means the highly complex architecture required to run a delivery app, the live GPS driver tracking, the dynamic menu interfaces, the secure payment processing. That is all now prepackaged, commoditized software.
I want you to really think about the implications of that. Historically, local restaurants surrendered 30% of their revenue to the big three because building a custom, reliable app with live tracking used to cost hundreds of thousands of pounds.
It was completely impossible for a small business.
Exactly. But if this white label technology becomes cheap, frictionless, and easily rebrandable by any independent pizza shop or local curry house, will the era of the giant aggregator app eventually collapse?
The technological barrier to entry is evaporating. When the software becomes a cheap commodity, the aggregators lose their primary leverage over the food creators.
Fast forward a few years. Instead of spending your Friday night scrolling endlessly through the expensive digital mall of Uber Eats or Deliveroo, you might not use a middleman at all.
Right.
You might just open your phone to find 50 different, beautifully designed standalone apps. One for every single independent restaurant in your neighborhood that finally took back control of their own profit margins.
It would represent a total decentralization of the industry. The economic power would flow directly from the consumer back to the kitchen, entirely bypassing the tech platforms.
And maybe, just maybe, it would make deciding what to eat on a Friday night a little less like scrolling through an overwhelming database and a little more like taking a physical walk down a thriving, independent high street. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the systems around you, stay curious, and maybe try seeking out an independent app for your dinner tonight. We'll see you next time.